All right, good evening, trade pros. Welcome to our Trading Psychology Mastery course, lesson 3. Today we focus, hone in, zoom in on our trading fears. All right, and we're going to talk a lot about that today. Today's going to be a very heavy day. Let me preface it by saying this. The next little bit, the beginning is going to start off a little bit slower of this lesson, and then we're going to get into some really tangible techniques. I'm going to tell you this. This isn't something that may or may not work. This is something that you allow to work, and if you allow it to work, it'll work very powerfully. These are things that have been mastered and worded very carefully, and all you have to do is not fight it for it to work. Just go along with it. Just go with the flow, and a lot of this will change your neurolinguistic behaviors. All right, so we're going to cover some very powerful things tonight. I got to preface it by this as well. I'm going to say that some of these things are going to take you more than one go to actually perfect and master. So it's going to be a little bit heavy on the exercise. We're going to do some four exercises. They're pretty deep. All right, this is some pretty serious stuff. And if you don't complete them the first time, or you're not 100% there, or you get mentally exhausted by the end, that's okay. That's why this is recorded. All right, so let's jump into it. Tonight, we're going to talk about the 8-step resolution to any problem. As always, I'll be looking for volunteers. Tonight, text is okay. I don't need to have anybody on the microphone for tonight's piece. The text works, and I'll pick on the first person that says me. All right, so I'll need a volunteer there. We're going to talk about trading fears and values, what they are, how to use them, what they mean. All right, so we're going to get into that as well. And then we're going to shift into changing single beliefs. Beliefs are very important. If you guys remember on the periodic table, or not the periodic table of science, but the table that I showed you guys, only one thing is above beliefs, and that's identity. All right, so changing beliefs has a shift to change everything, including your behaviors. And I'm gonna show you an exercise on how to change beliefs. And I'm gonna need a volunteer for that. So if one of you guys has a belief, a limiting belief that they think is holding them back, you would be the perfect volunteer. If you're thinking about it in your head, it's you. Just say I. All right, we're gonna do something called time techniques. This is basically a script I read, and I want you guys to participate in this. That should take about 20 minutes on its own. Changing single beliefs should be about 10 minutes. And then anchoring should be another 10 minutes. So we're going to run about, I usually say 60 minutes and I go over. So let me just not say anything tonight. We're going to run long as we need to, but it shouldn't be more than an hour and 15 minutes, okay, with all the exercises. And I'm going to give you one of the most powerful tools, the ring of trading power. You're going to be able to create a state of excellence in a mere moment's notice, right? So you guys excited? Now that I look at it, I'm seeing a very ambitious agenda. And you guys know I'm a very ambitious person. I need a text volunteer, somebody that wants to chat in the text with me. And I won't use your name if you don't want it. The first person that says I. And I want somebody who wants to have a little bit of fun. Uh, text is probably good. I mean, you could too. Jump on board, yeah. All right, Lori said I. Okay, Lori. It's you and I. Oh, I wasn't supposed to say your name. Are you still comfortable being a volunteer? Knowing that I use your first name? Okay, cool. Thank you, Lori. I want to ask you this, Lori. What is your biggest fear when you think about trading? And I want to ask each and every one of you this. So as we go through this exercise, be Lori. All right? Losing money. Okay, Lori. That's perfect. All right? Now thinking about what makes you want to trade, Lori. What makes you want to trade? I'll give her a moment to type in. Make money, financial stability. Okay, and for what purpose is financial stability and making money? For what purpose would you want financial stability? And I want you guys to answer this as well. You do not want to do another job, all right? And what's the intention of not wanting to do another job? Financial stability, right? So what's the purpose of financial stability? What's the intention for financial stability for you? When we're going through these exercises, this is a quick little warm-up. Independence, perfect. For what purpose? do you want independence? As we're going through this stuff, I want you guys to come up with the answer that's in your subconscious mind. There's going to be a rational part of you that thinks about what to say. Turn that part off. Go with the one that just it's on the tip of your tongue and it comes out for whatever reason. And it doesn't matter where it is or what it is. It's the right answer if it comes out naturally. To provide for the family. All right. What's the intention of providing for your family? And I think we've gotten pretty high up here, Lori. Security. There you go. We've gotten pretty high up. I mean, if you ask what's the intention and what's the purpose, for what purpose, what is your intention? If somebody gives you a statement in life and you ask these two questions repetitively, you're going to get to one thing, existence. You're going to say, I want to exist. I want to be happy, damn it. And I want to exist and live the best life ever. All right. Now, here's the interesting part. Do you guys catch something about that? Thank you so much for participating, Lori. Did you guys catch something about that? The first question we ask, what is the biggest fear when you think about trading? It's losing money. But then again, why do you want to trade? For financial stability? And it comes down for what purpose, what intention, survival. And it ultimately does come down to security. Interesting, right? Interesting little flip. Well, I want another volunteer, or Lori, if you want to keep going, let me know. I want to show you guys an 8-step resolution exercise. This works for any single problem that you ever have in your life. You could find a solution within asking these 8 questions. And I want somebody with a problem that's real. Here's the fun part, Lori. You don't have to tell me the problem. All right? You just have to answer these questions in your head. You don't even need to answer them in text. Just say yes when you got the answer, okay? Ready? All right, what's wrong, Lori? Think about it. What's wrong? Say yes when you got that answer. You guys with me as well in the webinar, say yes when you got the answer as well. I just want to kind of see who's following along here. All right? Or if you don't want to type, think in your head, what's wrong? Okay. What caused this problem? Just throw a wide. No need to. This is actually really cool to reflect on. I won't even need to know the problem. So it could be as personal or deep as you guys like. All right, what causes the problem? How have you failed to resolve this? How can you overcome the solution to your problem? All right, think about it. Perfect. Lori, you're still with me? I'll follow your lead there. All right, now, what would you like to change? When will you stop it from being a limitation? How many ways do you know you have solved this? I know you are changing and seeing things differently. All right, so if you guys print the sheet out and it's available, you can always get a screenshot, pause the video. Ask yourself these questions. Problems, you start to look at them a little bit different. Lori, be honest, do you see the problem a little bit differently? Do you really? Len, what about you? Len, we should talk if you feel that way. All right, so this is designed, it's coded, it's worded to speak to your subconscious mind. There's things going on here that you're not aware of. All right, it works with cause. Also, the way it's worded. When will you stop it? If you listen to how I pronounce things, it's basically a very subconscious mind trick. All right, so that's a fun little exercise to get us warmed up. All right, that's how you convert a problem into solution-based thinking. And it's very important for your psyche. Now let's talk about trading related fears and values. And we're going to really start to dig deep here, guys. All right. What were some of your values? Did you guys elicit your values from last week? In lesson 2, we asked you to, we gave you some real concrete steps to go in there and find out what your top 10 values are. Excuse me, top 10 values. Did everybody do them? First of all, if you guys did them, I'm very proud of you. You're taking action, you're at cause for the life around you. You're going to build something great. If you didn't, the question is, what could you have done different? What did you do that prevented you from getting those values, and what are you going to do differently? That's all you got to answer yourself, and not me. Be accountable to yourself. You're at cause, right? So what were some of your values, if you guys don't mind sharing? Sorry for the background noise here, guys. Some man on a motorcycle decided to speed down. I emailed Toronto. I told them to shut down the street. I'm doing a webinar. Abundance. All right, that's great. Abundance. So you guys pull up your list of values. Honesty, Marky. Honesty, economic security. Those are great values. All right. Growth, self-improvement, integrity, wisdom, freedom, love. Man, you guys are crushing it. That's amazing. Do you find that you're seeing things a little bit different? Be honest with me. Since starting a psychology course, do you find that you're being a little bit more observant of life around you, and you're starting to see a little bit more clearly from a lens of your values? Good. That's all that trying is the key word, as long as you're moving forward. Okay, so observing and evaluating more. Amazing. The gratitude has helped me. Awesome, Stephen. Did you do those gratitude practices in the evening? I'm assuming you did. Those gratitude practices at the end of the evening, no matter how hard and rough the day is, I promise you, will make you so much closer to your partner and so much closer to yourself with yourself. Pretty cool stuff. Amazing, guys. That makes me so happy, honestly. Good for you guys for implementing, especially if you're doing it with your wife or partner. It's very important. Bring your partner on board, makes it more supportive, makes it more powerful also. All right, so thank you for sharing some of your values. Here's an interesting look. I thought hard and long about this. Actually spent quite a great deal today kind of penning this stuff out. I want to go over some of the top 4 values, and it's funny that you guys mentioned some of these as well. That's all right, Len. You still have everything inside you. Everything you need is inside of you. You're a powerful man. You need to know that. You've got the ability to change the entire universe on how you feel. So keep those emotions sacred. All right, safety and security is one of the top values that often comes up because we're humans, we're animals. Animals are designed to keep themselves safe and secure. All right, through thousands of years of evolution, one of the biggest things we seek is safety and security. Here are some of the challenges with that value that relates directly to trading. The ones who find safety or security at the top of their values, whose was it for top 3? 1 to 3. Whose values fell with safety and security at the top 3 of the 10? All right, so this is interesting. So, I mean, a lot of this is survival. A lot of it is cultural as well. Again, these values, as I told you, have been created from the time you're 0 to 7. So you have to be at cause for them, but also you had little to do with the way they were implemented. You kind of picked them up, you absorb them from your environment. So here's some of the common challenges with people, or those of us who have safety and security as one of their top 3s. We're afraid of taking risk. All right, because naturally taking risk is counterintuitive to safety and security. We want to minimize risk. All right, one way to deal with that is to see the opportunity of trading. And the way you do that is you visualize. You see what kind of life you live as a profitable trader. And it's funny that afraid of taking risk for security actually translates to you wanting to trade for the same reason of security. You want to provide for your family. You want to create security for them, for yourself, for your financial future, for your freedom. So isn't it funny that the one thing that we're afraid of is actually what we need to do in order to gain that one thing? So what you need to do is flip this thing on its head and stop thinking about taking risk. Think about taking opportunity. All right, think about that. There's just as high risk in any other role that you do as there is in trading. In fact, the risk of not taking any risk shows itself later on in life when you get laid off in your mid-50s and there's little opportunity. All right, and I've seen it happen in the corporate world many times over, and it's sad, but it happens. So take that fear and flip it to an opportunity. Imagine yourself living the type of life that you get security through trading. Once you kind of get rid of that fear of taking risk by looking at opportunities every single morning. Start your day with a routine of seeing the opportunity in the day. Don't ask yourself what could go wrong. Say what amazing things could happen through trading. And watch how, if you carry that mindset through the day, you're going to see the market in an entirely different light. All right? Easier said than done. And I'll give you some strategies to help you change that around. Fear of losing money. All right? Once again, that's a negative way of looking at security. Yeah, fear of losing is, loss is one way you're not going to be secure, but not gaining is another way you're not going to be secure. So go and switch that to being happy for winning. All right? Be happy for learning. Be happy for living. Be happy for the moment. And then losses are minimized when you start to see things in the here, in the now. All right? Safety and security traders look to take sure trades. I want to make the sure trade happen. And that sure trade ends up being inaction. It makes you wait until the trade is done, and then you jump in and chase the market at the worst time. You look at the trade, everything is right, you know it's right, and then you're like, it's not sure yet, it's not sure. Oh my God, it's doing what I want it to do. I'm going to sell it here, and then it goes up the moment you sell the low. All right, that's what happens when you seek a sure trade. All right, that's driven by the need to be right in order to provide security for yourself. All right, the way I kind of look to you guys to solve that is get more discipline in your risk management. Forget about seeking a sure trade. It doesn't exist. I worked with one of our traders here today on that. I overtraded. I did the opposite of what he did, but I proved the point. Don't look for sure trades. Don't look for the perfect trade. Take a trade and be a perfect risk manager. Watch how your life changes. All right, people who have these, what's their top 3 values? Look for approval. All right, because we have this thing where we look at a mass group of people, and whatever they're doing, whatever their consensus is, that's what we see as right. We're looking for approval from somebody. That's the people who come to the trading room and say, should I do this? Is it a good time to trade? Are you going to give me a signal? Show me your trades. Because they want to follow the mass. Unless the masses have what you want, do not follow them, because that's what you're going to get. Does that not make sense? Would you say that the majority of people are happy and successful? No, and that's by choice. So don't look for approval from people. Be the approval that you want to see. Self-validate your analysis. All right? And then this is also the value that drives emotional trading. What you got to do is accept the risk of trading. When you cross the street, do you cross the street and say, I'm going to get hit by a car, I'm going to get hit by a car? No, you don't. You cross the street because you got to get to where you're going. When you're trading, don't be afraid of the risk. Think of it as you got to get to where you're going. And unfortunately, that takes taking a little bit of risk. And I'm going to change that word, not unfortunately. Fortunately, it takes a little bit of risk because then there's a reward. All right, these are the challenges and the solutions that you're looking to get. So if this is one of your top values, print this and work on this, because as we do these exercises in the next little bit, the way you interpret them is the way you want to. So you got to know what solution you're looking for before we do these exercises. So I'm recapping these values. All right. Here's another one, wealth. Who's got wealth as their second one of their top 3 values? Generating wealth. These are the most common ones. Perfect. Wealth generates safety and security, right? Makes sense. However, wealth doesn't come from taking no risk. If you want wealth, you're going to have to take a risk one way or another. Here's the truth. People who do not take risk, all right, put their money in a savings account, they're exposed to risk. They're just not getting paid for it. The person that's getting paid for exposing them to risk is the bank. They take your safety deposit and lend it out as a mortgage. Who took the risk? The bank. Whose money is it? Yours. Make sense? The person who takes the risk generates the wealth. There's no risk in looking for wealth. There's only opportunity. Taking too much risk. Wealth seekers as their top value will ironically take too much risk. They'll over leverage on trades. What you got to do is set daily maximums. Daily maximum losses, daily maximum profits, respect them. I got mine. Currently, as of this recording, it's $1,000. Stepped it up to 1,500. Got kicked you know where, stepped it back down to 1,000. Now we're into summer volatility. I'm sticking with that number. All right, looking for big gains. looking for more. These are the people who want to create wealth. They're desperate for it, so they look to over leverage on one trade. I always ask this question. If you're going to be trading for 10, 20, 30 years, what the hell does one trade mean? Nothing. All right? Looking to make big money on one trade is a sure killer for your account. So you got to walk away at your take profit. And now you guys see why when you ask me in the trading room, well, what should I do with this? It really depends on where your values are at. I need to know who I'm talking with. So I'm covering them all right? Scaling too quickly. This is what people who seek wealth, because they think more contracts means more opportunity. But then what's the more primal value? Security or looking for wealth? Which one do you think is rooted more deeply into your head? Where do you think your irrational brain or your animal brain reacts to more strongly? Security, right? So through going through big wealth and scaling too quickly, you're compromising your safety or security. Now you're going to trigger a valve that gets you out of that process because you're in over your head and your mind really consciously and subconsciously believes you're on a path to destruction. You're going to self-sabotage. So these two values are especially dangerous when they're both. For those of you that struggle to decide which one's first, wealth or safety and security, be very careful. You're at particular risk in trading. Not particular risk. I don't want to label anyone anything, but just be cognizant of this. Anyone could make it when you conquer your mindset, but just be cognizant of what's going on in your head. All right. And impatience for progress. These are the people that say, I just started 3 weeks ago. How come I don't have a Lambo? All right. And for that, what you got to do is embrace your journey. It's not about the end result. There is no end result. You know what the end result is? Death in life. The ending of your life, returning this body that you're borrowing back to where you got it from. You really want to get to that end result? No, all you have left is embracing the journey. So this is kind of the wealth value and some of the predispositions and challenges with trading that we're going to have to work on. Independence. Here's the problem with independence. One challenge is no accountability. Because you want to be independent, you don't want to answer to anybody. Who had independence as one of their values? That's amazing, Richie. Thank you for saying that. Great. Is this true, Ronnie? And Laurie, is this true? No accountability to anybody. You don't like it. The second you're accountable to somebody, it starts to turn you off of whatever it is that you're doing. Not for everybody, but it tends to be one of those things of the independence value. This may not be you to a T, but what you need to do is become the boss. You need to be accountable. All right, just because nobody is now supervising you when you entered the realm of trading, it doesn't mean you don't have a boss. In fact, you do have a boss, and it's yourself. And if you feel like you want to cut from a boss and you can't be your own boss, it's a very dangerous journey because you're not accountable to anybody. Especially dangerous is if you don't tell anyone you're trading. You don't tell your spouse, partner, you keep it a secret, you're not accountable to anybody, that's trouble. All right, other thing is inconsistent schedules. They'll sit down from 9 to 11 one day, they'll sit down from 2 p.m. another. They keep nothing consistent and wonder why the results are inconsistent. So you got to create one that you like. This tends to be a characteristic of values of an independence person. All right, they hate being tied down. So one thing I always tell people is if you hate being tied down and you want to be on the fly and be in control of your schedule, you should trade on a laptop and 2 monitors. You might be at home for the whole year trading on a portable setup, but guess what? It's a portable setup. Now you're telling yourself, I'm independent. I can take this and go anywhere, anytime I like. The portability of it is a pretty big psychological driver, right? Independent people also tend to personify the market. They say the market is holding me back or the market is wrong. I'm right. I got to get out there and break from its clutches. But you got to understand you are actually the fabric that makes the market. All right. And independent people have the strongest fear of being wrong because being wrong to them means they're going to lose their independence and be reliant on somebody else. And the one thing that you need to realize to this solution is that direction doesn't matter. You don't have to be right to make money, right? For the schedule point, you could create a schedule, whatever you like, just stick to it. If you want to trade from 1 a.m. to 2 a.m., go for it. I support that. We'll make it work. Just have something consistent, because independence values tend to be a little bit more inconsistent in terms of scheduling. Now, none of this should be taken personal. If some of it is right, great. If not, everyone's unique. Nobody's one type of value. It's just for people who have it. All right, philanthropy or making a difference. This is also one of those values. Tends to be a little bit in the later cycle of most people's lives. Some people early cycle. Being too selfless when they trade. Saying, oh, well, it's okay. It's not for me anyways. Abundance mindset. You got to build the mindset that you deserve everything. All right. Some of them trade to give. They say, I want to trade to make a difference in this world with the capital. Great, but earn it first. You got to earn something to give something. Right. So you deserve the right to be wealthy and abundant and prosperous if you're going to be doing it for somebody else. Right. You got to give to yourself before you give to others. They tend to be a little bit too more forgiving to them of themselves, but you got to be more accountable. The people who you want to help need you to be your best self. All right, and also tend to be distracted. Distracted trading, you just got to stay focused. And there's going to be some mental exercise I'll show you. The Ring of Power, the Hack-Allow state. Did you guys practice the Hack-Allow state? Is it helping you guys be in the zone a little bit more? Len, give it a shot this week. That's my challenge to you. All right, here's the reality of change, and we're going to start doing some NLP stuff. Anything in neuro-linguistic programming is a do-with process. Yeah, that's the 180-degree state, the expanded awareness. Everything in NLP is a do-with process, which means we do it together. It's not a do-to process. I can't do anything to you. We could do it together. So basically, if you're not accepting of change, it won't come. I can't make it happen for you. And that's, again, living at cause. You are responsible for change that you want to see in yourself. You. Now let's talk about how to change a single belief. In our first lesson, we talked about the pyramid, the triangle, and how changing a behavior will not necessarily lead to the outcome that you would like for the long term. A behavior might be a short-term achievement and accomplishment, but the deeper setted and rooted values and identity and beliefs are what drive the top-down change. So if you want to see long-lasting change, one thing you could change about yourself is your belief, and that will trickle down to behaviors, potentials, and new opportunities for you. So in this next exercise, that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to change a belief that you have about yourself. I'm going to caution you that changing a belief could have a spillover effect in multiple ways in your life. So be cautious about which belief it is that you're changing, and make sure it's something that you really want to do differently. This strategy works perfect for limiting beliefs that may be holding you back from accomplishing things that you want to. So in this example, we're going to use the limiting belief that I will quit too soon. Now, it doesn't have to be in relation to trading. It could be whatever your mind wants it to be. So don't limit yourself. Allow your subconscious mind to express itself freely. So we're going to use I will quit too soon. All right, so I would ask yourself in this situation, what is the limiting belief about yourself that you wish you didn't believe? I will quit too soon. Is it all right with your unconscious for you to get rid of this belief today and for you to be consciously aware of it? And when you think of that belief, do you have a picture? Think to a time that you felt like I will quit too soon. Do you have a picture? Is it black and white or color? Is it near or far? Is it bright or dim? Where is it located in your mind's eye? What is the size of that picture? Are you seeing it through your own eyes, or are you seeing yourself outside of your body? Is that picture focused or defocused? Is the focus changing or is it steady? Framed or panoramic? Movie or still? Do you smell popcorn? No? Okay. So what we've just done here is we've gone through an example of how we elicit a submodality of the way you see visuals inside your mind. So what you want to do here is, first off, start with a limiting belief about yourself. Ask your unconscious mind if it's okay for you to get rid of this belief, and then you could go through the rest of the script and the rest of this recording and answer the questions that I ask you. Remember, we're not interested in your logical answer. We're interested in the answers that come out of your unconscious mind from the back that appear to come at a snap of a finger. These are the intuitive ones that flow out of you and you don't have to think about. So as we ask these questions, don't try to question whether or not or where it is. Just know the answer is there in the back of your mind. All right, so once we elicit the submodalities, we're going to break a state. That's why I ask if you smell popcorn. And then we're going to do an exercise for this, and we're going to do it 4 times. These are the questions that we have for you that we're going to ask 4 different times about 4 different things. And the idea here and the intent is for you to print this out online first. So you're going to go to our website in the trading psychology section, lesson 3, and you're going to pull up this resource and print it out. And as I'm asking you these questions in the exercise to come, you're going to answer them 4 different times. And remember, it's your intuitive answer that we want to know. So far we have column 1 already filled out. And now we're going to go ahead and do column 2. All right, and here is how we're going to proceed. Think of a belief which is no longer true. For example, I am 18 years old, or Santa Claus is real. Do you have a belief like that which you used to believe but isn't true now? Take a moment and identify it. Good. And when you think of that belief, do you have a picture in your mind? Great. Is it black and white or color? Near or far? Bright or dim? Where is that picture located? What's the size of that picture? Do you see yourself through your own eyes or outside of your body? Is the picture focused or defocused? Is the focus changing or is it steady? Is it framed or panoramic? Is it a movie or a still? What color are your pants? That's a break state. All right. So the next thing you're going to do now is look at the column on this sheet between 1 and 2 and find the area which is different. This could be a difference in location. It might be size of picture. It might be brightness. It might be the depth, the color or not. Whenever you find one that's different, that's called contrastive analysis. And what you're going to want to do is change that driver to make the shift. Let's continue here. I've used an example from our live session which one of our members volunteered, and I'm going to actually go through the rest of the session using those example submodalities. Let's get back into this. Think of that belief that you wish you didn't believe. And when you think of it, do you have the picture? Great. Now what I want you to do is take the location from down to the right and shift it slowly to the middle. Also, I want you to take that large picture and shrink it down to seem like a medium picture. I see that the focus is changing. I want you to slow it down and make it steady. And it's currently a movie. Slow that down, snap it, and turn it into a still image. Now, what about that old belief? How is it different now? What we've done here is we've taken all the submodalities on the worksheet from column 1 and we've adjusted them to look like the submodalities in column 2. So what we've actually done is we've taken a belief that you have now and we've shifted it in your mind's eye to the same location where you hold things that you no longer believe. That's step 1 of the process. Now we have to do the submodalities 2 more times and make one last shift, and you're going to see a big difference in your belief change. Let's continue. Think of a belief which is absolutely true, like the sun will come up tomorrow. When you think of that belief, do you have a picture in your mind? Excellent. Is that black and white or color? Is it near or far? Bright or dim? Where is it located? What's the size of that picture? Do you see yourself in first person or outside of your body? Is that picture focused or defocused? Is the focus changing or is it steady? Is it framed or panoramic? And is it a movie or a still? Look at your mouse, it's moving. That's a break state. It essentially cleanses the palette of the way you're thinking. All right, so now we have column 3 that should be filled out. We're going to move on to column 4. Think of a positive belief that you want to have instead. Probably the opposite of the limiting belief that you used to have. When you think of that, do you have a picture in your mind's eye? Great. Is it black and white or color? Is it near or far? Bright or dim? Where is it located? What's the size of that picture? Do you see yourself in first person or outside of your body? Is it focused or defocused? Is the focus changing or is it steady? Is it framed or panoramic? And is it a movie or a still? Now that we've had these submodalities elicited for step 4, what we're going to do is notice the difference between column 3 and column 4. And whatever the difference is, let's say it may be location, what you want to do now is take the column 4 image and push it to column 3. So the way you did from column 1 to 2, whatever the drivers were, the contrastive analysis, you push to column 2 from 1 to 2. Now you're going to do the contrastive analysis from column 4 into column 3. And that's going to look something like this. Think of the positive belief that you want to have instead. Probably the opposite of the limiting belief that you used to have. When you think of that, do you have a picture once again? Great. Now I want you to take that picture and move it from the middle to the upper left-hand side. I want you to also take that steady focus and change it. And I want you to take that panoramic picture and make it framed. Now, what do you believe about your ability to constantly accomplish any goal or challenge that you set your mind to? Why do you have this new belief? Think of a time in the future when, if it happened in the past, you would have believed that you're going to quit too soon, and tell me what happens instead. Excellent. What we've now done is we've taken you from a state of something that is true at the moment, which is a limiting belief. We've shifted it using modalities to something that's not true. This is a very powerful exercise, and it's got the ability to change every single thing that trickles down from beliefs. It's going to create new behaviors for you. It's going to create a new environment and allow you to be successful. Here's an example. A lot of people have the limiting belief of being a slow reader. So what we do is we shift them to something that they know for a fact is not true. I am 10 years old. So now you make the belief of being a slow reader something that's not true, like you're 10 years old, and then you say, I'm a speed reader, and you're moving that into the sunshine will definitely come up today. So you're making something that you believe to be true that you didn't like not true, and then you're taking something that you want to be and making it true, like the certainty that the sunshine will come up today. This is a really powerful strategy. Now you have it in your tool belt, and you could use this for any belief that you have that limits you or holds you back from accomplishing the things that you want. Crazy, hey? Richie said, wow, I can notice the difference. Do you notice the difference of the emotionality when you actually bring out that picture? It's interesting, right? When you say, oh, upper left, when something is for sure going to happen. When you think about something that's in the upper left, you feel the energy of that. And when it's a crappy thing, you feel the energy to that. Here's a tip and trick. If you guys want to just change behaviors, move them. Move that picture from where they're stored as a negative to where your pictures are stored of a positive. And you won't believe it. You could change, not the actual picture. Hold on. Be careful here. Don't take the picture of what you don't want and move it to the positive. Take the opposite of that and move it to the positive. Basically, you're making it a positive thing. All right? So what we've done is we've shifted a belief with these questions. It's pretty cool stuff, hey? Awesome, Richard. That's amazing. Richie, sorry. All right, we're going to do another thing. Take 10 seconds maybe just to kind of unwind. Does it feel differently for you? Give it a couple days and then let me know, because These are interesting things. All right, time techniques. How would you guys like to release anxiety around losses in trading, release anxiety about taking trades and becoming a trader, and putting a goal in your future timeline? I'm sure you guys would like that very much. Let's do a little exercise called discovering your timeline. This is really cool. I want you guys to just relax. It sounds I'm sure you had a long day. Long, beautiful day, that is. And just listen. I'm going to record one that's more extensive. That was a shortcut version, Laurent, because it takes a little bit longer. So at the end of this course, I'm also going to record these things as sound bites that you could do. So if you hit a moment where you hit a snag, I'll tell you which one to go to. It'll kind of be like, if this happens, do this part. And I'm going to record them in full. This is more just guiding you through it. So let's just move on to this next one. I want you guys to just relax. That's amazing. Lori says subconscious is stronger, making healthier eating choices and up $500 today. Lori, you're winning at life because you're at cause. Very proud of you. That's amazing. All right, let's do this. And then we have one more after this. All right, so we're going to do a technique called discovering your timeline. We're going to do this today, and then we're going to do part 2 of it next week. So I want you to sort of just play with this a little bit, experience it, but we're not going to make the power changing shifts tonight because I don't want too much in your head at the same time. All right, you guys ready? You relaxed? All right. I'm going to read this like you guys are answering. So everybody's going to have their own different version. Don't force it. Let the natural response come to mind. I'm going to read a script, and this is really cool. All right, so I don't expect anyone to put yes or no here. I'm going to read through it. So it'll take 3 minutes. All right, I have a feeling, you guys can close your eyes for this, just relax, sit back. I have a feeling if I were to ask your unconscious mind, where is your future and where is your past, that you'd point in a certain direction, like front to back, side to side, up and down, or in some direction in relationship to your body. Now, it's not your conscious, logical, thought-out answer that I want. It's your natural, unconscious answer that I want, your first impulse. So if I were to ask your unconscious mind, where is your future? What direction would you point? Good. And where is your past? All right. Now notice those directions imply a line. And if it does not imply a line, that's okay as well. Can you remember something that happened a week ago? Good. Notice where that memory comes from. Do you remember something that happened a month ago? Good. Notice where that memory comes from. Can you think of something that will happen in a week? Good. Where does that memory come from? And can you think of something that will happen in a month? Excellent. All right, come back to the room, guys, and I want to just get your response. What was your timeline like? Up, right, down, left. Awesome. That's pretty cool. So it does imply a line. Was upright your future or was upright the past? And was it easy for you to come up with that, or did you think about it? Future to the left, past to the right. Awesome. That's great. There's no right answer. That's the best part. All right. Let's do this very quickly. One more time. Now that you have your timeline, I want you guys to close your eyes. Before you close your eyes, in your journal that you guys bring, your notebook for this class, I want you to write your timeline. Like just draw it out in a line and in relation to where you are. Draw your head in the middle and then draw the timeline. Some people have, hey, there's crazy timelines. They're not crazy, they're your own. There's some that spiral. Some people, I see mine coming from the back left on a 45-degree angle, but going right straight. So it kind of does like a 45-degree turn. It does, David. It does. But did you notice the direction of them? You're more of a visual person, I assume. Is that correct? That's probably why you went there. All right. Um, let's see how this goes, David, and then you could tell me, because this is a very powerful technique. A lot of these timeline therapies that are used, I shouldn't use timeline therapy, it's actually called time techniques, long story, copyright stuff around it. This is used by a lot of very advanced neurolinguistic practitioners, charge $1,000 for a session for this, because it actually makes insane changes. But tonight, I just want to experiment with it and see that you guys are sort of seeing it. All right, let's do this one more thing. Let loose again, close your eyes, relax. What I'd like you to do now is to just go ahead and close your eyes and think of your timeline. Now, when I say timeline, I don't only mean something you see, because in a moment, I'm going to ask you to float above it. And by float, I also mean as sound waves float on the wind, or as you might float in a pool or a bathtub. However you imagine your timeline is just perfect, because it's yours. So go ahead now and just float above your timeline, making sure to look through your own eyes instead of seeing your own self floating. Now, staying up above your timeline, I'd like you to just turn and face the past. Just turn so you're facing the past and just float back into the past. At the unconscious level, there is no concept of time, so your unconscious could take you there as quickly as it likes. You could take as much or as little time as you'd like. Just go ahead and float right back into the past as far as you'd like. Good. Now go ahead and turn around back towards now, facing the future, and just go ahead and float right out into the future. Remember, at the unconscious level, there is no concept of time, so you could take as much or as little time as you'd like. Just go ahead and float right into your future as far as you'd like. Good. Now turn around and face now, so you're facing back into the past. And now I want you to float way up in the air. And in fact, float so high that your entire timeline seems to be only an inch long. And when you're there, just go ahead and float all the way back down to now. Float right back down into now and come back into the room. How was that? Were you guys able to see it and move around? Interesting stuff, right? Somebody said trippy. It is trippy stuff. All right, so we're going to do, now that you're kind of in touch with your timeline, we're going to do one exercise with this, all right? I'm going to explain something very quickly, and I'm going to caution you guys. When we're doing this exercise, there's a few emotions that we clear before we actually do it, like anger and sadness, those two in a row. Do not try this at home on those two. We're going to do some trading related ones. The reason being, and what you want to do when you're floating in your timeline, notice how we said float far above it. So if you're going to a past event that might be like something hurtful to you or something that's like traumatic or trauma, don't get into the timeline, float above, stay way above it. If you feel yourself getting sucked in and trying to like associate it into the moment, like David, you mentioned you felt associated. Yeah, do your best to stay way above the event. If you find yourself getting sucked up or sucked down into the timeline, float back above. You got the control of this. All right, check it out. This is cool. So what we're going to do is the following. So when we're doing these timeline techniques or time techniques, where'd the pen go? Here's what we're talking about. When we say an event, it's an event that's happened on your timeline. All right, You don't want to go in there. If it's an event of eating Burger King last night, gorging yourself with fries, you don't want to go in there and feel the taste of how those fries are, gorging yourself. You just want to look at yourself eating those fries and saying, cool, he's eating fries. You don't want to feel any of the emotions associated with what you were doing in the past when you're floating above this event. All right? And however your timeline looks, it might not be like this. This is what we call above the event, and this is before the event. All right? Float above the event. Okay. Participate at your own risk. We're going to release trading anxiety, and then this is going to be the only one that we do. The rest we're going to do tomorrow. I'll give you one more thing, then I think we should be good. Or next Tuesday. Yeah. All right, you guys having fun? Good stuff? Or see, a lot of you are getting kind of aha moments. Trippy is a good word. I like trippy. This stuff is very trippy. All right. Okay, are you guys ready? We're going to work on releasing trading anxiety. Just anxiety around trading. That's all. Cool? Simple? Do you guys know what that feeling is? Does that mean something to you, trading anxiety? Okay. Oh yeah. Okay, perfect. All right. So I want you guys to close your eyes once again. And I want you to answer this in your head. You don't have to type, just relax again, all right? Is it all right with your unconscious mind for you to release the emotion of trading anxiety and for you to be consciously aware of it now? The answer is yes, continue. All right, good. Ask your unconscious, what is the root cause of this problem, which when disconnected will cause the problem to totally disappear? If you were to know, was it before, during, or after your birth? If after, at what age? All right, so just go ahead and get in touch with your timeline now, just like we experienced a few moments ago. Float above your timeline so that you're above the moment of now and above all the memories on the timeline, and turn around and face that past. And staying well above all those memories, go ahead and float back into the past above the event of feeling trading anxiety. And when you get there, just notice the event and give me a nod. Floating there directly over the event and looking down on it, just ask your unconscious mind what it needs to learn from this event, the learning of which will allow you to let go of trading anxiety easily and effortlessly. Your unconscious mind can preserve these learnings so that if it needs them in the future, they'll be there to protect you, to help you make good choices, to serve you. When you've got the learnings now, please let me know. No need to type, just nod. Now go ahead and float back before the event, well before the event of first feeling trading anxiety and above that event, and turn around to face the future. So the event is in front of you and way down below you. Now ask yourself, where is that old emotion of trading anxiety? Is it there or is it just gone now? Now come back to now over your timeline only as quickly as you could let go of all the trading anxiety all the way back to now. Stop at the position just before the event when you first experienced it, where there used to be trading anxiety. Apply the learning and let go of the trading anxiety all the way back to now. Remember, at the unconscious level, time is experienced differently, so your unconscious could take as little time as it wants. Just let go of the trading anxiety all the way back to now. And when you get back to now, go ahead and float down into now and come back into the room. What time is it now? Speaking of time. It's now. All right, fair. All right, I need one of you as a volunteer. I'll pick on you for the person said now. Can you remember a time in the past where you used to be able to feel that old emotion of trading anxiety? Go back there now and just check to make sure trading anxiety is gone now. All right. Now go out to a time in the future, which if it would have happened in the past before we did this technique, you would have felt inappropriate or unwarranted amounts of trading anxiety. And notice how it's different now. Good? Come back to now. Did you guys notice a difference? Does it feel a little bit less meaningful? This stuff is crazy because it works. So like there's no way around this. There's only two things. You participated and believed in it and really bought in and it worked, or you didn't. And remember, it's not a do to, it's a do with process. Notice how it doesn't feel the same anymore. It's like, what trading anxiety? All right, so we'll leave you with that technique for today. Next week, we're going to do a few more. All right, but I'm proud of you guys. Len, how do you feel overall? Better? So, Reese and I do this to each other every 2 weeks. There are two main emotions that you need to clear first before you get deep into this. So keep trading anxiety. If you're going to go ahead and try anything else, I'll tell you what they are. You want to go back to the first event that you experienced anger. Be careful with doing this. I would highly recommend doing it under somebody's supervision. In fact, I don't recommend you doing this yet. Finish the psychology course first, get a little bit more of a straight path, because what could happen, especially what David was mentioning, how he's getting pulled into that timeline. If you get pulled into it, you could associate into it. It's called an abreaction, and then you need to have somebody there to help you because you can feel the full extent of an event just like that. Right? So it's kind of like a vulnerable thing to do. The idea would be to release anger, release sadness right after. If you ever release anger, you have to release sadness right after. No, like going to get a drink, nothing. Just do it. And then you could do any other emotion after that. If it's deep, if it's like hurt, guilt, shame, that kind of stuff. Very like deep to human level psychology. If it's like trading anxiety, you guys are free to do this technique as much as you want. Cool? To answer your question, my fiance and I do this to each other every 2 weeks for any kind of things that we've accumulated. So it's an ongoing process. So you do it once and it'll relieve it, but the more you do it, it becomes more and more helpful. Cool stuff. Hey guys, did it not work for anybody? Did anybody kind of like This is stuff you'd pay $1,000 a session for with an average neurolinguistic programming practitioner. Were you kind of participating in it? Like, were you believing in it, or did you start off skeptical? Be honest. Hard to concentrate. That's fair. Try this when you're in a time when you can. Are you in a loud environment, like a one that's not really conducive to this? Huh. That's so interesting. Amazing. You see that? You've beat the odds once already. And it's funny they mentioned that. That's usually what it comes down to, an event like that that starts to cause a lot of those issues. But you notice how 2.5 years old is like before 7. Remember, 0 to 7 is a lot of your values. So it's really interesting to see just a little thing of trading anxiety take you all the way back there to a significant event like that. Isn't that cool? Your unconscious mind knows what it needs to do to heal. You just have to kind of let it. Pretty cool technique though, right? What did you experience, David, if you don't mind me asking? You started skeptical. What did you experience? Explain, Laurent. Like, what do you mean going past you? Wow. That's okay, Laurent. That's okay. It's recorded. You could do it again. Um, I would say just try it in another environment where you're not expecting anything and just go for it in like a less tense, more relaxed atmosphere, and give it a shot. Yeah, I sense that, Laurent. I think that's kind of what that goes down to. Try it again. Somebody said they were actually stuck at the now. Are you dealing with some hard stuff at the moment that you just don't want to move out of? Were you floating really high up, or did you stay closer to your timeline? Because you mentioned you stayed very close to your timeline to begin with, right? It's almost like your subconscious mind is not letting you pull out of right now to float above. Interesting. I would definitely not do the first two emotions on that. Explain, how is it self-sabotage? Just curious. The old pattern, right? Yeah. Isn't that crazy? That's true and real self-sabotage. It's like, and it goes down to a time where you were sort of born with that from 0 to 7 years old. Remember when I asked you guys in the remember when I asked you guys in the survey how, like, when you were pushing the slider from 0 to 100, how crazy you want to get outside of trading psychology? This is it's out there, but it will work 100% of the time if you allow it. If it's not working, you're not allowing it to work. I walked in super skeptical. I was like, what is going on? And I got rocked. It was crazy. I didn't believe any of this. Anywho, it's recorded. You guys could try it. If you guys have any questions or would love to discuss this more, I'm open for conversation. All right. Fear of loss. We'll do the belief that money makes you bad tomorrow, or not tomorrow, next Tuesday. Um, we're gonna do one more. Are you guys ready for one more? Or is your brain dead? You know what? My brain's dead, so yours is probably dead as well. There's a lot of energy that goes into this. So let me see. Hang on one moment. All right. Let me show you the screen. It's funny, the people who experience something are like more, the ones that didn't, like, what's going on? But it's okay. I can tell you guys this. There's no right or wrong reaction to any of this. It's all what you make it. It's all what it is. There's no right or wrong. It just is. There's nothing but isness. All right. Yeah, that is bright, right, Leonard? Get ready. You're gonna get that ring of power here. 129. Well, this is another script. This one's cool. I actually have this one. Vic, you could try this too if you want. This is me. All right. So for this one, it's called the Ring of Power. So it's basically like having a ring that you're able to put on your hand to feel like a crazy amount of power. It's really cool. This actually works for me. If you guys watch me trade in the room, Mark, tomorrow when you come in, you'll notice me sometimes doing this. It kind of sucks because it's on the ring where I'm going to have a wedding band in less than 2.5 months, so I'm going to have to change it. Or maybe we just put two on. But I actually do it. I do put on this Ring of Power, and it's cool stuff. And you could choose where to. Let's just do the script. All right, guys. One more time. Let's just chill out a little bit. Close your eyes. Huh? You could get a physical ring, but you don't need one. Well, then you go for it. I can't hold you back from getting a physical ring. All right. So what I want you guys to do is just to kind of close your eyes and just relax. If you could feel any positive and empowering emotions at any time you wanted, what would they be? You don't have to answer it, just think about it. If you could feel any positive and empowering emotions at any time you wanted, what would they be? It could be trading, personal, anything. Just think about those emotions. All right? Imagine a ring of power in front of you as a circle about 2 feet in diameter. All right? Guys, imagine it. Make the ring vivid and potent. Just make it very powerful, strong, 2 feet in diameter right in front of you. All right? Can you remember a time when you felt that positive and empowering emotion you want? Can you remember a specific time? And as you remember that time now, step into your body, see what you saw, hear what you heard, and feel the feelings of being totally motivated. Just really feel it. Take that feeling and multiply it by 10. And then step into the ring in front of you. And as that state starts to slowly wear off of being totally motivated, step out of the ring when it begins to subside. Step back. Physically imagine yourself stepping out of that ring. All right? And if you wanted to, when you're listening to this recording, if there's another state that you want to add to that ring, you could layer it. It doesn't have to be one state. It could be all the states at the same time. All right? That's it. That's all. That's all it really is. It's a cool visualization, but it's got an effect and it has lasting change. So all you got to do now is step into that ring. So if you want to be trading in this massive emotional moment that's very happy, very like out there, very motivated, very excited, just picture that ring around you while you're trading. I'm telling you, subconsciously it freaking works. Sounds nuts. And the reason I say I have it on my finger is that I visualize me putting it on my finger. So then all I do is take it off and drop it, and it's there. And it's like, how do I say this? Remember that your mind is just anything that happens in reality happens as an image in your brain first. So remember when you're a kid and your mom or dad probably told you, stop imagining. You're like, oh, one day I'm going to have this. And like, all right, go get a job. Stop imagining stuff. Really? Yeah. Like as kids, the one thing we lose is imagination, but like imagination is all we have. So like a lot of these stuff, it sounds like you need a lot of imagination. And if you don't have it, it's okay because you've been told not to have it. But imagination is literally manifestation. That's the crazy part. So the stronger you can imagine things, the better the ability to turn them into reality. So there's your ring of power. Use that for trading. Are you standing in it when you're trading or shrinking the ring and wearing it? So Lori, what for you, what would be easier to imagine? There's a right answer for you there. All right, Alfonso, take care. We're wrapping up anyways. Um, you could imagine both standing in it because of your initial visual. Perfect. Stand in it. So what you could do is when you need that emotion to be elicited or that positive response, just imagine it right in front of you. Just look down and this big ring of fire, and you're stepping into it. If that's how you initially envision that, that's what it's right for you. So visualize that. You could just look down and pretend, not pretend, but look down and imagine you see it because you do. Anything you imagine is real. So look down and see it, and then it becomes real and step into it. For me, I imagined it as an actual ring that I take off, that I'm also wearing, and I just take off and just drop wherever I want. So it's both. Column of light, that's interesting. Whatever you imagine is what is real in your mind, and it's different for everybody. All right, Ronnie, you got the ring of trading power and the ring of power. Ronnie says powerful stuff. Laurent, how did that one go for you? Were you able to visualize that a little bit more? Steven, thank you. Awesome, Wendy. I know you are, Wendy. I can feel your energy through an email. It's crazy. Kind of like Doctor Strange type of ring. Amazing. Laurent, you got your own Doctor Strange ring. Use it. That ring will be where you're going to be at your best. And what you could do is re-listen to this and then choose another positive emotion. And the more positive emotions you put in that ring, the stronger it becomes. And I'm telling you, wherever you get into a rut or negative emotion, step into that ring and powerful things happen. And the more you use it, the more your unconscious mind uses it as a refuge. You don't need to go anywhere. You could just right there in front of you, step into it, and it's real. It's cool. All right. That's all I got for you. I had more planned. Your brain's going to explode. This is already long enough. Now I kind of know these techniques took a little bit longer. I'm going to re-record the one where you guys were changing your beliefs because I want to do a better job at it. Because now that I've done it with your guys' responses, I have some other stuff. So I'll add it as an addition to this lesson. It's a takeaway for me. Use this ring of power. It's amazing you guys are in touch with your timeline. Next week, we're going to do another 2 or 3 of the timeline stuff, and I'm going to give you a cool resource anchor other than this ring. And then we're going to deal with more of your values around trading and tangible stuff. I know some of you are thinking, when do I move my stop loss? That's coming, but you just got to get there through your own mind first. You got to clear this kind of blockage before we talk. That's the simple stuff. Anyone can teach you that. Very few people know this stuff. All right, guys. Have a good evening. Thank you for tuning in. Abraham, you absolutely can use this ring for other activities too. This is like a ring of power. It doesn't have to be trading power. You could be speaking. A lot of speakers professionally, they won't tell you this. Tony Robbins 100% uses this exact same technique. He speaks out of this ring. He's got a ring that he speaks inside of, and that's his like power face. Do you guys know like speakers? Does anyone know a professional speaker? I'm not a professional speaker, but I've done a crap ton of webinars. I can tell you this. When I start the webinar, I'm always kind of like nervous about how it's going to go. Ask Victoria. I told him today, I'm like a little bit nervous for this one because it's out there. But then when I'm doing it, I just like get this energy and I don't know where it's coming from. That's your ring. You could use it for everything. Did you? Yeah, for the evening trading webinar, right? Yeah. And then it would turn out good, right? It's fine, exactly. So anyways, there you guys have it. Use it for everything. You can't abuse it. You can't use it enough. Take care, Abraham, Richie, everyone that stuck around. Azalea, Barbara, Cameron. Cameron, you missed were you here for the first 2 lessons? You walked in the door at the peak of like the far corner of where we're going to go with this stuff. David, take care. David number 2. Actually, I can't say that. David C, David P, Detmar, Marky, Laurent, take care. Lori, Leonard, Marjorie, Philip, Richie, Ronnie, Steven, Vlad. You guys are the best. Rock out. Stay positive. Think positive thoughts. Practice gratuity. Use your ring of power. And let's just do this. All right? Knowing this stuff makes you accountable and responsible for change. Take care, guys. Have a great night. See you next Tuesday or tomorrow morning. All the best. Adios.